So David Z from Greylock Partners, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Tony, for having me.
So you talked in this panel here at Techonomy about you think the next 5 years will bring more value and innovation than in the last 15 years, and that sort of acceleration of pace. Can you just tell us briefly what you're thinking behind that and what your expectations are?
I think we're at this wonderful moment in time where what you see is a number of technologies layer on top of each other and are additive, almost like a layer cake. And you get certain points in time when a technology is layered into that stack that causes a whole bunch of capabilities to be realized from all the things that came behind it. And so we saw that with the browser, captured all the stuff that was in the internet when it was DARPA and behind and brought that out. We saw it with broadband, when all of a sudden all these things became great. It wasn't that e-commerce didn't exist, it's that when you had broadband and it was always on, it had a totally different experience. It wasn't that video didn't exist, it was horrible unless you had broadband. And today we have mobile coming onto the scene and the ability to analyze data and create great things for users at a scale that we've never seen before, while we also have everyone connected onto the web at a much higher level than you've ever had before. And so there's this wonderful moment where we're going to put all those things together, and you're starting to see it in your everyday life. You see it in being able to rent a car or use a zip car to go and order it, see where it is, go to the car, use the card, it automatically turns on and you can drive it, and then you're billed automatically and you don't have a lot of paperwork and trail. And so all these things are coming together in a way that I think the next 5 years, we're just going to see it blend into our lives. And I think there's this wonderful moment when the technology comes together and the results for humans helping us get so great that the technology actually recedes into the background, and it's the solutions that you really see. Ironically, technology is the best when you don't know it's there. Right. And we're seeing more and more day to day that the capabilities are at a level that the technology doesn't have to be noticed. And that's really wonderful, because technology doesn't exist for technology's sake. It exists to make things greater in our lives, to make the world a better place to be in for us.
Well, let's talk about some of those companies or some of those trends you're seeing. I mean,
like I said, these companies take advantage of the whole stack and create new services that never existed before. So I think a very classic example of a company that we're involved in is Airbnb, where basically the idea is all these people exist out there that have real estate, houses, apartments, vacation houses, tree houses, castles, and they only use them for a tiny portion of the time. What if they were to allow other people to use those unused assets in the world and rent them out effectively? And so this is an idea that sounds sort of crazy, like how could you do this? But in today's world, with everyone connected by cell phones, with the ability to use the web and surf and find and surface these things, have reputation systems tell you they're reliable, both the person that's going to come and use your space and the person that you're going to go into their space. And as a result, they're at the point now where it's quite possible that this New Year's there will be more people staying in New York in Airbnb than the entire sum of all the hotels.
And that's an example of a new technology that's not just creating a new app or a new website or new technology, but it's really changing a lot of what was already there, right? You had a lot of houses and homes and real estate that was just sort of unlocked, right? When you create this new service.
Yeah, there's this magic when you get these combinations of these services that unlock things that have existed. So eBay was like that. It unlocked the idea that you could sell these things that you created, or you could sell these things that you had but no longer needed, regardless of where you were. And so what technology does do is it removes friction and allows things to happen at scale. And when you do that, things become capable of happening that already existed but never quite came together. And just like when you saw eBay change, where people could do this, and now they could actually quit their jobs and run their business running an eBay store from the middle of nowhere, say in the middle of the United States. That kind of opportunity for value creation is happening now in Airbnb, where the renting of these spaces is actually becoming a significant part of the income for a number of the people on Airbnb.
Neighborhoods have existed forever, right? But now you have a new service for neighborhoods. Can you talk about that one?
Yeah, I think Nextdoor is focused on sort of the unification of the value that you got out of being in a neighborhood for many, many, many years, knowing the people around you, helping out the old, can I borrow a cup of sugar, my dog's lost, that kind of thing, and connecting it with the power of the internet that you saw being captured in Facebook. So if you were to take Facebook and combine it with sort of the close neighborhoods of the past, we can now enable that at Nextdoor. And what you find is people come on to their neighborhood, they learn about their other neighbors, and they start helping each other. Who's a great carpenter in our neighborhood? Well, there are dozens of people in that neighborhood that have used carpenters before, and they have great recommendations. You know, what should we do about this problem in our neighborhood? And groups come together and help each other. And soon you've got them, instead of selling the tickets that they had for the Warriors game, they're saying, hey, does anyone in the neighborhood want to take these tickets from me? And so you get value and creation in being part of the neighborhood, and you get this sense of community that's, you know, when it used to exist, and the fear was technology would make us have less community, things like Nextdoor bring that community back together.
Right, and it's interesting because what I thought was interesting about them is they're doing social, but not in a public, necessarily massive public social way like a Facebook or Twitter, but it's sort of very isolated in, you know, where you live and things like that.
They've been very focused, as you said, on the importance of the trust and caring in a neighborhood has to do with making sure that it's private, making sure that these people are actually in the neighborhood, that there isn't sort of people just appearing and pretending to be in the neighborhood. So they do a lot of verification to make sure that the people they say in our neighborhood are part of a neighborhood. And then, like a lot of systems that the internet creates, there's self-policing of that too by the neighborhood once you get to a certain scale, and so you get these wonderful transformative effects.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. Always great to see you, Tomia.